Let's break it down. Hey guys, this is Tom Bucks. A surprise Master Duel video just dropped here today. We're looking at the upcoming ban list. I'm sure by now you guys have seen the announcement of this thing here, the upcoming Forbidden Limited List update, the first one for Master Duel. I've clicked on it, and it's a page essay. So here's the TLDR of the announcement, guys. If you click on the box, it's going to tell you the date, which is going to be May 8th. That's the active date. There's a little bit of a balance note, but it's not really detailed, and there's no card for card, so there's no point really reading into it. It's just telling you, hey guys, we're going to hit cards based off of the analytics of ranked, and these are the cards that are overused, and these are our attempt to make the games less short, and it also accounts for future releases of new cards that are coming in the future. That's all they said. And based off of that, I think it makes a little bit more sense once you see the list. And they even go into the details of the dismantling bonus. So there's a dismantling bonus period between May 8th to June 9th. So anything that got affected by the ban, the limited or semi-limited, anything that's within those categories, within that list, you'll get a bonus 20 CP when you dismantle them. That's it. And I think it's regardless of surface finish, or you're not like multiplying anything. So if it's a regular copy, 10 plus 20, 15 plus 20 if it is like a shiny finish, and royal finish, I think that's like 30 plus 20. So that's kind of the gist of it. Now let's go into the actual list and break that down, because I find it kind of disappointing. And here it is, the ban list. In terms of ban cards, I feel weird calling it a ban list because there's 0 cards being banned. Where is this Starving Venom? Where's those FTK cards that we want to see banned? No, they're not banned. Starving Venom is still very much available. There's still, Lureless Independent Nightingale, that's still allowed, so you can definitely burn your opponent to death. No change there. And I thought you wanted it so that the games were going to be a bit longer. The FTKs are the reason why the games are so short anyway, and those are also the bots. I thought that would be, gone, but apparently not. That doesn't really sync up with the announcement, I think. Next, there's no bans on VFD and Rongo. So in other words, if you're gonna get locked out, you're gonna get locked out. You don't have the hand trap, you're gonna be stuck. That's all I'm saying there. And even for like Drytron, no Eva ban, no Ultimatus ban, no Benton ban. I guess Benton did get touched, so we'll jump into that in a second. I think the meta landscape not really changing until we get new cards. New cards is going to be where it's at for people to come back, but this, I don't know if this is actually enough to get people to jump back onto Master Duel right now. But next, let's look at the actual stuff that got hit. These are the limited. I have to keep reminding myself this is the limited stuff. We have one Ben 10. Anyone that's played Drytron in the TCG can tell you guys, one Ben 10, that's fine. We've been playing with one Ben 10 like for forever, and since we still have Eva, we have the Ultimatus. Yeah, we're probably gonna still go ham with this deck. We're gonna go nuts with it because we can still build the Ultimatus board, we can still pull the Perfection board, and we can still cycle that Ben 10 with like Megalith stuff, which is what we do now. Even with like 0 Eva, with one Ben 10, we're still completely capable of playing Drytron, and it's still a monster of a deck. So that's still a really good hit, but maybe not good enough. Next, the one that actually took a hit, I think this is the biggest loser of this particular ban list, it's got to be Eldlich. I don't know why people hate Eldlich or something, but because I've never seen this card be hit, it's got to be Conquistador. Conquistador at 1, that means they can pop your card once, and if they're trying to hold you with floodgates, it's going to be hard if they can't remove your monsters. And if you find some way to work around with just one Conquistador, okay, they took a pop and that's it. Now you can build your board, no worries about that. They can still use other trap cards, I get it. It's still like, oh, they can use like Ice Dragon's Prison, they can use perhaps the Paleozoic Dynamiscus to remove your card, but those don't synergize with Eldlich, therefore they're not going to go from the Sanguine to Conquistador back to Sanguine. That's not happening. Well, it happened once and that's it. They're going to have to rely on, say, the Haquero a lot more. It is a major hit, but it won't completely kill the deck. So neither of these hits are going to kill the deck, although I am pretty happy that Eldlich did take a fat L when it comes to this, because Conquistador is a very, very big player when it comes to the deck. Now, this is the semi-limits. This is the part where I got really confused. I kept on thinking these are the limits. If these cards were limited, it would drastically affect these decks, but it's semi-limit, so it is completely just a slap on the wrist. First of all, DD Dynamite, still a good hit. Now that I thought deeper about how we get like burned to death with the DD Dynamite deck, we're getting hit by a Lilith, sometimes we get hit by a Trap Trick. They're just digging for these cards so they can set it onto the field, burn you twice, call it a day. They just want the Banquet, they want the 2 DD Dynamites. It reduces the consistency, that's great, and if they don't Trap Trick into the card, that's also good. So that's gonna create a bit of a limitation, especially when it comes to like trap tricking a card onto the field. I think they probably could have just limited like Banquet of the Million, and then we would have been fine. Because then they have to dig for the card. They can't trap trick it onto the field. They could I think it hurts a little bit more and just ruins that whole FTK. But it's still going to be around, just harder to pull off. I think they should have just gotten rid of it entirely. But limit DD Dynamite to 1. We're not going to see it anymore. That would have been, to me, a lot better. Next, Sega's Light. I think they're hitting Adamantium pretty hard, considering that if you look at this entire list here, I put the rarities on for a reason. You can see that none of the ultra rares of any deck were hit. In fact, they gave us more ultra rares. If you just look at it, it's just Red Eyes Darkness Metals. I'm not even going to talk about it because no one's really playing it. It's hard once per turn. Okay, but they're not touching any of the ultra rares, which I find kind of fascinating for like the first Banlist. I mean, I think as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, as a person that is still within this game, we would like to see some major hits. I think being strict on a Banlist isn't exactly a bad thing. In fact, it would entice people to come back because the landscape changed. But right now, you're just like taking a spoon and saying, yo, this is landscaping. We're just like, yo, there's a new hole. Yay. You know, it's nothing. There's nothing going on here. Like, I feel like it's kind of lackluster. And looking at this, the next card, Fusion Destiny, a rare, get it. It's probably for DP coming back. So, or not coming back, but coming into the game. That's a good thing. I think the new cards are going to be the big change. If we get Sword Soul, we get like Burst of Destiny set coming in here. I would jump on this game just like that. I'll get gems, I'll buy the cards for sure, because I would be really interested to play as close to the modern game as possible. But this is the only thing that's kind of giving me a little bit of hope. Everything else, I gotta remember, hey, this is semi-limiting. Like, what does it do? Hey, you can play with 2 copies of Torn Scale. That's not really going to reduce the my consistency that much, considering how many cards that you can just dump into the graveyard. You can just Foolish into the graveyard. You have Gloves you can toss into the graveyard. Yeah, you even have, what's his name, Rusty Bardiche you can toss into the graveyard. There's just so many ways you can put it into the graveyard. You can search it with Ancient Cloak. I think that's not really going to change the game. Play an Upstart Goblin, fix your deck. Next, Fractal at 2. Okay, yeah, I still have my Tanky, so... No, not really a big change there either. Next, we have Lao Lao at 2. I think that doesn't make a big difference either. You can just GG the card back to your hand. Okay, M7 the card back into your hand. It's kind of a bit of a joke if you ask me. And then, like, oh, we're hitting Bird up too. We put Cobalt Sparrow to 2. Resolve the combo once, and I don't even need to search a second bird. We're reviving that bird from the graveyard, alright? So that also feels kind of lackluster. And besides, you can search out Cobalt Sparrow with Recital Starling. I don't see the problem here. And as for like Roxy's, I get it. It's for Adamantimator and Prank Kids. I think Prank Kids only play 1 to 2 copies of this, so that's kind of like saying, hey, we limited your card. You know, and for anyone that's playing like modern Yu-Gi-Oh, oh, we limited your Griffin Rider to 2. We semi-limited it, so you can only play 2 Griffin Rider now. Barely any people play 2. People play like 1. So what did that even do? I think the actual interesting hit is actually the Adamantipator Analyzer. This one, because Baron came out, and it is a very useful card. It does go from like Raptide to, let's say, this card. Then you can just immediately make a 10 to make a Baron. I think this is a pretty decent semi-limit. It might actually have some effect because for the one deck that reveals 5 cards, losing a single copy of it reduces the chances of seeing that card significantly, especially if you've already seen it or it's already bottom decked. Like, it really makes it a lot harder for you to get it with the Raptide. And Raptide is usually the reason why you would be able to summon out the Analyzer, because typically this is a going second card. Going second, you can special summon it, but going first, it's one of the normal summons, or it's going to be one of the ones where you summon with Doki. So this one actually has significant impact for that deck, but outside of that, nothing really matters here because this is at 2. It's at 2. Everything we talked about is at 2, so... a complete slap on the wrist. Not a lot of game change here. The landscape is still going to be the same until they drop a new set. That's my analysis here. So for Drytron, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look up one of my old videos with one Ben 10 combo. I probably don't even look it up because I still have it probably memorized. I can just play it by heart, and I'll know how to build the entire board. Once again, kind of like just, it's like I'm plagiarizing my own video here, and I'll just release it in Master Duel, and you guys will have a new Drytron deck. Yay! Top tier deck once again. But there is a bit of a difference, guys. There is still 3 maxi, and there is 2 copies of Call by the Grave. If your Ben 10 gets hit This time around, yes, it's going to hurt a lot more because you can't search it out, but Natasha's still around, so there's that. Well, that's all I got for this analysis of this ban list. I honestly just... Eldlich taking a fat L, Drytron getting a little more susceptible. Everyone else, party on. Alright? Nothing really changed for you guys. Let's hope that Burst of Destiny comes out soon. That's all I got for this video, guys. If you enjoyed this video of this ban list analysis, is the ultra rare, you know, pay shield here so that you can always keep your ultra rares. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a big change in the future where they're going to be a lot more strict and, you know, actually do some landscaping in terms of the meta scene. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.